Today we're diving headfirst into three explosive topics. These issues are all born from the disastrous choices made by Justin Trudeau's Liberal government, choices that are wreaking havoc on Canada. What on earth possesses nearly 27% of the population to continue backing the Liberals? It's enough to make you question their judgment. People are dying. Trump's outrageous tariffs are looming, and now with clown-in-chief Trudeau proroguing Parliament just to give the Liberals a chance to sweep their treasonous antics under the rug while Trump takes the reins, leaving Canada rudderless. This is utter madness. So are you ready to dive into this chaos? It makes my blood boil how much the police get vilified. Brace yourself for a wild scenario. Picture this. A criminal pulls a weapon on an off-duty officer, and guess what? They're out on bail, an international student wreaking havoc. They commit a crime and the police pursue them. This idiot drives against traffic on the highway. You'd think the next step would be to arrest him, right? Well, that's precisely what the police did, and now they're facing charges. They weren't part of the accident. The criminal driving a U-Haul truck caused that chaos. They tried to escape the police, careening into oncoming traffic, and took innocent lives along the way. And now two cops might end up in jail for it. One has dedicated 34 years to the force, and the other is a rookie at just 4 years. These officers risk their lives daily. This is sheer madness. The sole reason the officer acted was to save lives and stop this criminal. The real culprit is that bandit, not the police. So what is going on here? If you share even the slightest bit of outrage as I do, Google this Durham chief prosecutor. The first link will lead you to their contact details. A savvy TikTok user reached out to the supervisor, pointing out,
"While I understand the need for accountability, these charges are a disservice to the public. The officers were doing their jobs in tough conditions, and going after them could wreck police morale and effectiveness. I urge you to reconsider and drop these charges. Supporting our law enforcement is vital, especially when they act within their duties to protect and serve."
Remember, none of this nonsense would be happening if we had tougher laws. Here's a kicker. Singh, the criminal, had just arrived in Canada as a foreign student from India and was already facing 2 other theft charges, all while being out on bail. Why is he even allowed to stay in the country? Are you starting to see the colossal issue at play here? Our police force is handcuffed, and these criminals laugh at the lack of consequences while staying in the country. This is beyond absurd. Donald Trump's tariffs are set to transform Canada into a third-world wasteland. No exaggeration, we're about to earn the infamous nickname, Snow Mexico. So, what exactly is a tariff? It's simply an import or export tax, meaning that everything entering America, purchased by an American citizen or business, will get slapped with a staggering 25% federal tax. This doesn't mean Canadians will outright pay 25% more, but it effectively shuts us out of the U.S. market. American consumers will just abandon Canadian products. To emphasize the magnitude of this catastrophe, around 60% of our international trade happens with America, which constitutes a whopping 40% of our entire GDP. This trade is nearly half of our economic output, soon to evaporate like water on a hot pavement. Doug Ford warned that his advisors predict unemployment could surge by 500,000 to 600,000, which would mean that Ontario's current unemployment rate of 600,000 could double, pushing us into a chilling double-digit percentage. So why the hell are these tariffs happening? Trump claims our border is the problem. In recent years, the influx of individuals on terrorist watch lists being apprehended at the Canada-US border has skyrocketed. To illustrate, about 350 watch-listed individuals have been caught crossing into the U.S. from Canada compared to a mere 150 from Mexico, signaling that Canada has become the new preferred route for terrorists and criminals, thanks to our pathetic immigration policies. Trudeau has turned our nation into a veritable open border experiment, and a few days ago we reported that 50,000 international students have vanished without a trace, effectively buying their way into Canada only to disappear. Even India has launched an investigation into its citizens exploiting programs like our international student program, promptly making a beeline for the U.S. illegally. Our asylum program is a massive disgrace. Take the case of al-Didi, who was granted Canadian citizenship despite being caught on video butchered a victim for ISIS. He weaseled his way in as an asylum seeker and played the system for a year or two before being awarded citizenship. This is not the majority, but the few that slip through the cracks are a testament to how Canada is run by utter incompetence. This 25% tariff will lay waste to Canada's economy. Every single province and territory has a stronger trade relationship with America than with any other nation, making this no trivial matter. We've got a government that is effectively holding Canada hostage through prorogation. To sidestep a no-confidence vote, the Liberal Party is clinging to power, trying to railroad Mark Carney in as Trudeau's successor. We've gone from a puppet of the World Economic Forum to a scriptwriter for their agenda as our Prime Minister, with the same disastrous policies like open border nonsense continuing unabated. Trudeau claimed he was pulling back, but he hasn't and he won't, nor will his replacement. Meanwhile, Doug Ford and Ottawa chatter about waging an economic war against America despite our glaring dysfunction. While I usually agree with negotiating from a position of strength rather than cowering away from an attack, the grim reality is that Canada's economy has been devastated over the past decade. We lack any strength to negotiate with. We're like someone who's been bedridden for so long that they can't even stand up. Our GDP per capita has stagnated or even declined for the last 10 years, and the only reason we're seeing any growth is due to mass immigration, which creates far more problems than it solves. But here's the potential silver lining. I truly believe Trump's fixation on the border is a legitimate concern, yet I can't shake the feeling that this is also a personal vendetta against Trudeau. It's likely he sees this whole debacle as leverage to oust the Liberal leadership in Canada for a competent negotiator. We can only hope that this scenario plays out, but with a government seemingly eager to rule over a smoldering wreck instead of relinquishing power, it's going to get incredibly unstable for Canada. A legal showdown that could topple Trudeau's outrageous prorogation of Parliament is set to explode in court. On January 6th, Trudeau shamelessly advised the Governor-General to suspend Parliament for a staggering 11 weeks, just when the political climate was heating up. This move came hot on the heels of Trump's announcement of a thumping 25% tariff plan and his audacious hint at using economic clout to annex Canada. Enraged by this political farce, two Canadian citizens, David McKinnon and Eris Lavranos, threw down the gauntlet with a federal court challenge, boldly claiming that this prorogation is a direct attack on democracy, the rule of law, and Parliament's ability to counter Trump's brazen foreign policy. When the applicants demanded an expedited hearing, the Crown dismissed their concerns as mere theatrics, downplaying the significance of the issue. However, Chief Justice Paul S. Crampton had other ideas. He recognized that delaying this matter would strip justice away from Canadians and leave elected officials impotent at a critical juncture. Crampton's words were crystal clear. If the underlying application isn't fast-tracked, Parliament would be silenced for more than 2 months, unable to tackle this grave threat following Trump's inauguration. The expedited hearing is now slated for February 13th and 14th in Ottawa. Should the applicants triumph, Parliament would spring back to life, reclaiming its ability to confront urgent matters, potentially redefining the bounds of executive power in Canada and throwing a huge spanner in the works for the Liberal Party's plans. As we stare into the abyss of a Liberal government that prioritizes political maneuvering over the safety and well-being of Canadians, it's time for us to rise up and demand accountability. The chaos sweeping across our nation is symptomatic of a government that has lost touch with the reality faced by its citizens. Are we really willing to turn a blind eye to the blatant injustices unfolding before us? The police, who put their lives on the line to keep us safe, shouldn't face charges for their valiant efforts against those who threaten our communities. This is not just about tariffs or prorogation, it's about the very fabric of our society and the rule of law. If we allow this outrageous treatment of our law enforcement to continue, what message does that send to the criminals? That they can act with impunity while those who protect us are vilified? I urge you to share your thoughts below. How do you feel about the direction Canada is heading under Liberal leadership? And what are your views on the shocking charges against police officers just for attempting to stop a violent criminal immigrant? Let your voice be heard. If you love these deep dive videos, we'd be thrilled if you hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we'd be so grateful if you did, as it truly supports us. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Cheers.